Okay, so I'm at NAB 2016 with Brian Burling of eMotimo. I think you've corrected my pronunciation.
eMotimo, yeah. eMotimo, people call us, but it's eMotimo.
Okay, excellent. Last time we chatted, you guys had the TB3. There's a little kind of cube thing.
Yeah, you stopped on in. It was 3 years ago in 2012. That was our first NAB, and since then a lot has changed. We started with a little orange box. TB3 stands for the box 3-axis. Since then, we've done about 2 major releases on it, and we've really pushed the limits on what we're doing. This year we released the Spectrum ST4, and it's right over here. I'll show you what it does. So there's a few of them in here. Hey Logan, can I borrow that? There we go. There we are. Underneath this tripod right here is the Spectrum ST4. It is a 4-axis rig. 2 axes are built right in. The pan and tilt. No wires for the pan and tilt. Off to the side, you can see these M3 and M4 motor ports that we have right here, and a few other things like an onboard joystick. We've got camera control. We've got a USB port, an I/O port for future functionality, and an SD card for more upgrades and storing moves in the future as well. We're using standard ARCA mounts to be able to connect L plates to cameras. We support from small mirrorless, even GoPros, but really we're going for the bigger guys up along the way. And we're support up to 12-pound load. And really what we're aiming at is people with lightweight or midweight red cameras, and we want to hit that market because our new video features are probably the most exciting thing we put in the product.
Right. I guess the TB3 previously, like video was kind of a possibility, but it wasn't perfectly smooth.
Yeah, we pushed the limits on the 8-bit hardware that we were using, and that platform. Originally, we were doing like a time-lapse only device. We kept on pushing, and we were able to get some functionality out of the video. It was very good for certain situations, but getting a live shooting environment and having the good control system is what we're aiming at with the Spectrum for these larger cameras, and I think we nailed it.
Cool. Yeah, let's take a look.
So, first things first, we love gaming controllers. It allows us to feel. These analog joysticks are what we're really aiming at, and the reason is they allow us to feel and get a very cool, clean move. We have various modes that we can put this in, and it's very responsive. A low latent connection, a wireless connection. In the real world, this works at about 30 feet, up to 50 feet. In NAB, where there's a ton of RF interference, we stay pretty close to keep our connections. But what you'll notice is we've got a little bit of float here in various modes. I can spin this around. We can show some of our presets as we go through it. And as we change these things, the head starts to feel different. And I say feel a lot because that's really what I think we've offered to this interface. We want users to be looking through the camera and through the lens. We want them looking at the monitor, not looking at their controller, and getting the right feel for what they want, which means that we know where everything is. If you picked up a gaming controller in the past 10 years or so, it's going to feel natural. We've got a lot of buttons and a lot of ability to customize this in the future, but the number one target here was taking a familiar feeling remote control, putting some analog sticks on it, and be able to control multiple axes. It's a 4-axis rig. Pan and tilt is on our left, and then we could also go through and live drive our slider. And you can see as we're moving on through, we go through and we release. We've got a lot of float. We can control our damping and our accelerations and top speed by mode. So we're in our infancy in the firmware right now, but there's a lot of ways we can tweak this thing. We can go bi-axis. We can set up soft stops. We can go through, control our damping. The idea here, and I'm going to say it again, we're getting back to the feel. We want to get this thing feeling great, so the cinematographer can be looking at the monitor and capture exactly what they want.
Cool. I guess, and we're going to touch on some of the questions. We have a well-known tabletop conceptual still life shooter. Justin Poulsen's asking.
Yeah.
Repeatability for your shots. Like how quick or how good
really good. We can show you some tricks later on down the line with a 500mm lens along the way. But not only were we repeatable, we were repeatable with the TB3 as well for visual effect shots, and especially around time lapse. You can take a pass in the day and pass at night. We've all got all of that as well. So really accurate. In fact, our accuracy has improved about 8 times since the TB3 with the increased payloads. The tough part to do along that was we actually increased our speeds while doing it too. So instead of it being a very accurate head, Justin very accurate head, we're accurate and we're fast. In addition to the speed here, we can really whip things around. We can start getting things, because we want to dabble not just in repeatable visual effects and very slow, smooth moves, but start playing with high speed as well.
Okay.
So, yep. What else was I going to say on that? Yeah, repeatability. You can set up keyframe shots. You can run them over and over again. And there's also some exciting features where we have some freeform moves that we can start repeating to get a more organic looking shot.
Actually, that was interesting too. When you were speaking to, it was Jeff Frost, right? I think they had just
Jeff Frost is an artist that defies definition. You should check out his stuff. It is mind blowing, and he has a strong need for repeatability with his artwork. We were showing him some of those features.
Cool. Actually, could you show me like the organic?
If you come on this side, we'll show you a new mode. We're in our live shooting mode right here. I'm jumping on into that menu, and I'm jumping on over to our record and playback. I want to make sure I have the right feel for this, though.
Okay.
I'm going to jump to a certain mode that gives us some good damping feel. So this is how the remote feels. I've got it set up live the way I want. I'm going to jump on over to a record and playback screen, and I'm going to hit our record button right here, and from here I'm going to live drive this move, and it'll be an awful move for real life. It'll just be, I'll be running this around. But the idea here is we're live recording this, and right now it's hard-coded to a certain amount of time, and that's 20 seconds. But in the future it'll be 20 seconds or even further than that, where we can just go through, and at the end of that we'll be able to grab a hold of this, hit our play button, and we go back to the start, and we're going to repeat that exactly. So now the head has control. We've taken that move, and we're recording individual, you could call them like breadcrumb trails for all 4 axes along the way. What we were live controlling was recorded at a very high frequency, so that when you play it back, it's a complete emulation of that live move. The neat thing is the subsequent playbacks are all pixel perfect, accurate, and repeatable. So you can do visual effects with this very organic feeling move. We did it once, we can do it again. And it goes back again, and we can do this over and over again. Jeff was talking about looping this as well. If you have needs for interview settings, or if you need for complex moves and be able to loop this, we're putting that function in as well.
Cool. So again, you said time limit, at least for now, 20 seconds?
It's 20 seconds just because we're dabbling with this. We have this in front of some visual effects artists, and they're telling us what their big rigs won't do and what they do well. We're solving some problems that the big guys have trouble with. And when I talk big guys, the rental rigs, the $50,000 rigs, we're trying to get to a frequency where we get pixel perfect accuracy from the initial record to the play. That's for, you think of applications for that you'd have in the studio. You're following an actor. Now you want to go through and do object replacement. You want to put a green screen. You want to do multi-plates around that and make sure that it matches your live take. We're getting really close there. We got some great people we're working with on it. So we're just playing around with this mode right now. It could be 5 seconds. It could be 10 seconds. We've got some additional storage on the side, a little SD card that you can put in there, and the goal is to save these moves and have really no time limit.
Okay, awesome. I guess, do you want to just do the demonstration of repeatability with the 500mm?
Sure. So repeatability and precision. I mean, you can kind of get an idea of what this was doing. We've got we could call it a parlor trick up here, but if you follow me over here, what we've got is a very. Can you start us up? What we've got is a very long lens attached to one of our digital SLRs up here, and we're broadcasting or casting to the TV behind, to the display behind us. And it's if you look way over there, you can see at the Atomos booth they have a climbing wall, and we're reaching out, and that's what we're playing off of.
Yeah, there's a climbing wall there. Focusing is.
There you go. So that's what's behind us right here, and the neat thing is we don't have any stabilization on this, and we have this 4.5-pound set of Gitso carbon rails. We've got our the same unit we were talking about over there, the Spectrum ST4 right here, and we've got this 500mm Sigma lens mounted way up high in sort of an awful configuration for stability. In fact, it's so unstable that just small taps are really ruining the footage.
I guess to put things in perspective, this thing is taller than this thing is over my height right now. It just happens that Brian Burling is an incredibly tall guy.
It's up here.
How tall are you, Brian?
I'm 6.5 feet tall.
Okay.
So this one is, the base of this is about 6.5 feet tall on this lightweight rig that is just not very stable.
Yes.
The fun little trick I'm telling you is you put this in a very low velocity, very high damped mode. I'm going to live drive this around, showing you some of our stability and some of our repeatability. So we've got this climber up here, and on 500 millimeters, I'm framing her the way I want. If I wanted to go up, I could use the tilt, and actually we're moving right now very subtly. I'm going to go up. My battery is exhausted. That always happens that way, but we'll swap this out really quickly. When you stop by Sony's booth later, you can tell them that battery on their mirrorless is still pretty rough.
I think it's only gotten worse too with the A7 II series. So.
A7R2, it's wonderful in so many ways, but it is a little bit rough on the battery. So we're live driving this around, and we've got, this is a very difficult problem to solve. Again, we're just basically tap this and we ruin our footage. So you can imagine the level of precision that we're going for to be able to live drive this and play with this. And I'm going to drive it, release it. We're programming in damping by axis to be able to go through and make this footage usable at a very long focal length on an unstable platform. Now, this isn't what we want to use with the Spectrum. It's not really something a lot of people are trying to solve, but you could imagine if we step back to 100 millimeter or even 200 millimeter, we're going to have a very usable head. And 4.5 pounds of rigging plus 4.5 pound Spectrum with a camera on top, you can actually replace a fluid head tripod that might be 20, 30, 40 pounds. You're not having to interact with this thing, and you're able to reach out and get a lot of precision. It's one of the benefits that we have, the way we've geared the motors, the way we're controlling them, that immediate feel of what we want. We want that to translate for not just time-lapse shots anymore, but live video settings in lots of creative ways. So, yeah.
I guess, for and this is a question that's come up with both with Justin, the tabletop shooter, but also with in Portland, actually, a theater that is intending to, live broadcast off their stage and looking for remote control for camera heads. But I guess, in terms of interface to a computer or something else other than just a PS4 controller, what's planned?
There's a lot of fun things in the works. Off this port side right here, we have 2 motor ports, which are outputs. Those are precision or repeatable motors. We also have the camera control for standard digital SLRs. We have a USB port that we're going to enable to connect to a computer to talk to our file system over there. This is an I/O port, a general I/O port that we can configure in lots of different ways. One of the things we're going to do initially is we're going to also try to reach out and connect with RC as well. We can connect to some various protocols so that you could use RC boxes to cast it quite a bit further. So you get up to a mile. Right now we're limited to about 50 feet in good settings, or in settings like this it gets a little bit shorter. We have flexibility on what we do with this USB port on the side, and we also have the SD card that's meant to be able to store things. So in addition to that, we've had a lot of requests for applications as well. We're looking at it. And it's a possibility in the future. We're also going to challenge users and say, if you can stay out of an app for a while, we think you can get some pretty interesting results by just playing with the camera and getting that feel right on the initial pass. We see what we're doing and the level of control we have as a way to shortcut getting exactly the move you want without jumping in and spending a lot of time on a different interface. So as much as we can out in the field, in the studio, we want to be playing off this interface. We're going to give you creative ways to interact with it.
Right. Okay, sounds great. I guess, Justin's last question though too. Cable to connect to a RED camera, like interface for.
Yep, we don't have them out of the box just yet, but more so, as we're targeting RED customers, we can really move the rigs around well. We want to chat in a more robust way. So being able to incorporate not just a camera trigger, but being able to starts, stops, and interact. RED's done a good job releasing their API and making that available. Off the same I/O port, we can start chatting with that. And so there's lots of creative ways we can just, with this box in the future, now and in the future, we can keep on connecting to more and more things. RED's interface and their I/O is definitely in our sights.
Okay, excellent. What about other camera systems too, like say Alexa?
Alexa is possible as well. They don't make the same API available. We got to push them hard. Blackmagic is actually a good one that's especially with their micro cameras, the micro 4K. There's some really interesting things they can do with that to incorporate motion control on their bus as well, and so we're looking at that as well.
Okay, excellent. Anyway, Brian, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thanks for the time.